Hello, my name is Wenping. Welcome to my channel. This is a series of step-by-step CTF walkthrough for various VulnHub boxes that is suitable for beginners. Today, I'm going to walk you through the process of hacking one of the most popular boxes from VulnHub, Kioptrix Level 1. Kioptrix Level 1 is widely regarded as one of the most popular boxes on VulnHub because it is very beginner friendly. There are multiple ways to get root, so it makes it even more fun to explore. It is also similar to some of the boxes in oscp lab. So if you are currently pursuing the oscp certification or intending to pursue it, well, this is a good practice for you. Without further ado, let's get started. As you can see from my screen, I have already downloaded the Kioptrix vulnerable VM and set it up in my home lab. So after you have downloaded the VM, the image, you can set it up using VirtualBox or VMware workstation or something. So whatever software that you please. So the main thing here is that you are running it locally, and so it's not violating any laws, as well as you run it in the same network so that your attacker machine can reach it. So in this case, after I run it, I will see this screen. Welcome to Kioptrix Level 1 Penetration and Assessment Environment. The objective of this game, this CTF, is to acquire the root access to this machine. That's the flag that we are going for. So there are many ways that this can be done, so try and find more than one way to appreciate this exercise. So I'm going to show you two different methods of getting through this Kioptrix Level 1. But in this video, I'm going to go use Metasploit to exploit the machine. Alright, so let us jump back to our attacker machine, which is here. So this attacker machine is basically Kali Linux image. So I just downloaded the VM version for my software. I use VMware workstation. So I downloaded the VM and use it directly. I did not do any customization apart from changing my name and password. So if let's say you want to follow along this this walkthrough, you can do it as well. You can just download the image and run the same commands as I do. Alright, so wherever you are in a Kali Linux environment, it is very important that you know where are you located in. So in my case, I am in my home lab. I need to know what is my IP address. Alright, so in this case, I know my IP address will be this 192.168.2.102, and then my subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, which is /24. Alright, so now because I know that Kioptrix Level 1, the machine is in my home lab, but I don't know what is its IP address. So in such a situation, what can you do? There's a tool called NetDiscover. Alright, NetDiscover. I'm going to run dash help here. In this walkthrough, because it is beginner friendly, I'm going to run dash help for as much as I do. All the commands that I can that has support dash help, I'm going to run it so that we can all learn together. Alright, so we know that NetDiscover is an active and passive ARP reconnaissance tool. In this case, I'm only interested in dash the range. Alright, to scan a given range instead of an auto scan, I want to have this kind of input, which we have at this point. So this is my IP address. I want to scan for every host in my network to find out where is Kioptrix. I can do NetDiscover -r. I can enter this IP address .0/24, and then to run this, because it touches network, I need to run it as a privileged user. Okay, so this is it. It's scanning my environment, my network. and is able to identify that these are all the machines. You see currently scanning is finished. Alright, so we can do a Control C to cancel. I'm going to say it that this is very likely the machine because its vendor is VMware. Alright, so this is most likely the machine, but how can we confirm it? We can conduct a port scan to find out what services are running on it. So let's focus on just this machine. We just assume that this is a Kioptrix for now. Alright, so we can run mmap. So for mmap is a very popular tool that people run to find out what are the services that's running. Alright, so in this case, I want to run mmap dash help. I can see that there is a lot of different flags that mmap actually support, such as host discovery or the different techniques like you try to run a TCP scan, connect scan, and etc. You can also run different scripts. Alright, so it's a very powerful tool. It's a very powerful tool. Although nowadays youngsters like to run tools like this or this scan. So I'm sticking to mmap for this walkthrough. So mmap, I'm going to scan the machine that we are talking about, this 205. So I'm going to run mmap dash ss for a stealth scan. I don't run a full TCP scan. I'm going to have a dash sv so that it will identify the version that's running as well. I'm going to have the dash pm because I don't need to check whether the host is alive or not. So that's about it. And if I run it like this, it is only going to scan for the top 1000 ports because no ports is being specified. By default, it will scan the top 1000 ports. So in this case, what I can do is I can run dash p dash because I want to know what are all the ports that are running on this host. So if I put dash p dash, it will scan for all the 65535 TCP ports that is available. I want it to run slightly faster, so I can put the dash t4. So I think this is good enough. I can run this. I have to run as a privileged user, and this is it. I am running the full port scan, all the 65535 TCP ports in this scan on the host of 192.166.2.205. Alright, so the result is out, and we can see that there are multiple services running. Over here, you can see that all the 65535 have been ports have been targeted in this scan. So there is many services that is running the SSH service, the web server, and Samba, and there's so many services running. So which one do you focus on? Usually in this case, we will look at what is the most interesting service to focus on. So over here we can see that Samba is actually quite striking over here, because the fact that Samba is running on this Linux server, like Red Hat Linux, and then the group can be found is running Samba, right, the SMB service. So if I want to find out, remember previously I mentioned that we are assuming that 192.168.2.205 is Kioptrix because its vendor is VMware. So that is not a very good indicator in the first place. But now that we know that Samba is running, we can use this tool MBT scan to find out more. Alright, so MBT scan is basically you can use it to scan for the whole class C network or a range of IP address. But in this case, I know exactly what I want to scan, so I can just run MBT scan and insert the IP address over here, and ta-da! the result is almost instant because there's only one host and I am running in my home network. So we know that the net buyer's name is Kioptrix, the user is also Kioptrix. So this is a big evidence that we are targeting a right host. Kioptrix is .2.205. Okay, so since we know that it's running a MPT scan, so what can we do? We can find out, if we want to find out more about what is running on this Samba service, we can use a tool called enum for Linux. Again, we will run the help, and we can see that this tool actually is able to perform a lot of basic enumeration on our target. So something I'm interested to run over here is the -a, which is to do a simple enumeration. It will scan for, like, over here they have told you what are they. So -u basically to get the user list, get the share list, you want to get the group and member list, and etc. information. So let's try running it. We have enum for Linux and -a, and then we have our target, and let's go. Okay, so basically it runs a lot of different command automatically to identify the information, like what are the users that's available through ID cycling, the built-in groups. So they actually perform a lot of the attempts to connect and stuff like that. So it's actually a very useful tool to perform enumeration. And if you are working on your OSCP certification, you will definitely run this command multiple times, because it's really quite something that is very useful, and you will always run it when you see a Linux machine that is running the Samba server. Alright, so you over here you can see the OS information. Kioptrix is running the Samba server, and then it has the OS version and the server type here, but it don't exactly tell you the version that it is running. So in this case, based on my understanding, this tool should show the version, but doesn't matter because we can also run other tools such as the MSS console. This is Metasploit. Okay, yeah. So over here you can see that it is starting the Metasploit framework console. It's a console that allows you to use the Metasploit the exploits that is in this framework. Alright, so I'm going to search for SMB. Alright, okay, so in this case I'm going to run this auxiliary scan. So I believe I can just run use 105, which is this auxiliary scanner. Alright, I'm using this auxiliary scanner, so I have to show options. Alright, the R host is basically my target, so I can set R host as this IP address. So I show options again. Alright, looks like I have everything in place. I can just click run, and it can check the version for me. So over here you can see that it is able to identify. It says host could not be identified, but they have a Samba 2.2.1a. Alright, so what does it do? So in this case you can actually use go to Google. So something that we learned in from doing OSCP lab is to always mainly two things. One is to always believe that there's a way to exploit a system. So because it's designed that way, in the OSCP lab, every host that you see that is like, as long as you can access it, they are hackable, they are vulnerable. So we have the mindset that everything that we see can be hacked. So keep trying and trying, like don't think that this is a rabbit hole. It's definitely hackable. The fact that it's in the OSCP lab it is hackable. So this is something that we learn. And then in this case, the same logic applies because uh, uh, this machine is designed to be exploitable. Yeah. So another thing that we learn from oscp is the ability to search for known exploits or known vulnerabilities. Like this is definitely not new. So you can see that the first result when you search for it is exploit. So as you can see over here, there is this trans to open overflow. All right, rapid 7. Okay, so this exploits the buffer overflow found in the Samba versions. That is like in this case, because the version that we observe on Kioptrix is 2.2.1a, which is definitely between 2.2.0 to 2.2.8. So this particular module is capable of exploiting the flaw on the x86 Linux systems that do not have the no exact stack option set. All right. So what you can do is they basically tell you what you should be running. All right. So in this case, we can try this exploit. So it's basically exploit Linux. We can just copy it. All right. We can run it here. All right. So we can use this this exploit show info. So if you run show info, they have the same explanation for you as well. Samba trans to open overflow. So this is the same information as we seen previously. They already entered the basic option of the rport 139. This exploits the buffer overflow found in the Samba version. So buffer overflow is basically a situation whereby the program failed to check for the fact that you okay, how do I put it, the input is this size, and then if you know the location of the ESP, which is the next code that's going to be execute next, you can make use of the buffer overflow bug to make your input overflow to the extent that you can determine what code lands on the ESP location. So you can use it. That's basically the exploit, the buffer overflow exploit. All right. So let's use it. Let's show options, and you can see that we basically just have to enter the rhost. So set rhost. We just use it like what we did previously. Previously, we just enter the IP address, which is this, and set our host 192.168.2.205, and that's it. We can show options again. We can see that this is our machine, and then this is the payload that is going to be used in this exploit. You can of course change it, but I don't think there's a need to change it in this case. And show targets, you can see whether there's any show targets. Yeah, so there's only one target, so there's nothing for you to choose in this case. So I'm not sure why did it mention like this, but I think it's good enough. So we can just run it. All right, so it's actually attempting the buffer overflow exploit. It's running multiple times, and the session keep dying. All right, so if you see this kind of situation, maybe you can just cancel it, and maybe something to do with the different exploits. So you can show option, show payloads, payloads. You can use a simpler payload that is not this. You can run a generic maybe generic reverse shell. All right, you can set payload to yeah, set payload, and then you can basically try something that is simpler. You can try payload slash generate shell reverse TCP. Okay, show options again. Alright, now we can see the payload is being shown here, generic shell reverse TCP. Alright, and then this is my machine, the attacker machine, and we will use the listening port of 4444, which is the default. And let's run it again and see if it works. Alright. So it's trying the return address of a different location. So you see, I have multiple sessions being open in this case. Alright, let's cancel it. Okay, wait, no, not canceling it. ls, let's cancel it. Okay, I can run sessions. Okay, yes, this is it. So the exploit works, and I have multiple sessions on this machine over here. So the connection says that is from our listener. We have access to this machine. So let's say I can run sessions dash help. Alright, sessions dash I is to interact with the ID. So in this case, I can run sessions dash I6 to use this shell to access to this session. Alright, so now I can run ID and see, I am root. You see, I am root. I am in Kioptrix. So this is the first method. So this is the first method that I am going to share with you in this this video for this walkthrough of Kioptrix level 1. So with that, we have come to an end of the walkthrough. So thank you for watching. I hope this video is useful to you, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe.